So I think the public input was not, didn't seem like it was organized or effective. I think that it wasn't it was in the consent portion. It didn't seem like it was going to be pulled out to have a discussion about it, so we could hear all the concerns or positive comments from the individual commissioners on this project. It's a big project. Many other people have advocated on the environmental impacts and concerns. I'm going to defer to them on those concerns and continue with my other more governance types of concerns. As we move forward, I'm assuming the county staff will ensure that all the setbacks and safety requirements are met or exceeded. On the taxes in Section 403, the tax credit, the relief on the ad valorem taxes, that pushes the incremental cost of services to the existing tax base, and I have a concern with that, obviously. The tax rate is held steady on other programs, and if the tax rate is held steady, other programs will have a smaller pie to get funds from. Also, our impact fees are they going to be waived? That wasn't clear. Are all the ad valorem taxes going to be waived? Some are state, some are school board. It was not clear to me. To the county, I've only been here 5 years, so I don't know what the processes are when those are waived. I had a problem with the equipment credit. There seemed to be a disconnect between the application, which was talking about 50,000 max per company and 100,000 max that's talked in the contract. Is it 100,000 for Panacea, or is that just for any other company that might be built at the site? Job creation. The incentive, our median income is about 60,000. The full incentive will be given even for jobs paying less than 100. I think that's low. I think that incentive should be bumped up. And there's no county residency requirement, so they could be living anywhere in the area. I don't know if it's legally allowed to require some percentage of county residents, but I would appreciate if that would be added. Some of the county conveyance milestones seem pretty short, 1 day, 5 day. I know we want to get this project in place and done, but I don't want the county to be at risk for missing those time frames. I lived in St. Louis, Missouri for over 20 years before I moved here. And when they started to require guarantees of county, community support from companies that are getting this kind of tax relief, just sponsoring school tutor programs, allowing the employees to have a paid volunteer day with it, and another day of time off to do community support activities for nonprofits. They might fund a new bus route, provide mass transit incentives to employees, other pay it forward type of things. I think that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that is the end of Hear the Audience. Next is the consent agenda, which is items 6 through 30. Anyone wish to pull any of those items? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, if I could just pull 27, not actually to pull it, but just for a comment, if I could.
You want to do that now?
Sure.
Go ahead.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. First, I just want to thank all the citizens who've been involved in this process for the past 6 to 8 months. It's always great to have public input and go through the process. Also, I just want to say the process worked. And I say that because, unfortunately, we can't provide a lot of information when we're in these blackout periods. But between the input of ourselves, our citizenry, and working with our staff, we came to a great outcome that's going to bring hopefully 1,200 jobs to Osceola County at a higher clip than most of our average jobs. But I also want to thank my commission and our fellow staff for looking at an optional site that I think is a much better location for this opportunity than what was originally proposed with staff. I appreciate us working through it and also working with Panacea to really a location that will serve industrial opportunity and being a better employment center as well for District 3, because we all know that the only way we're going to fix the issue with our traffic in our community is by creating more opportunities for jobs to shorten our trips on a daily basis.
you can get some.
I'm Nikki Fried, chair of the Florida Democratic Party, and today is a very important morning. I am standing on the steps of the Florida Supreme Court where oral arguments are this morning to make sure that women across the entire state of Florida have access to reproductive health care.
They do.
Democracy is at test today.
Oh, really?
And hope that the justices listen to the arguments and protect our rights.
Turning more and more red by the day. New numbers crunched by Florida's Voice show Republicans now lead Democrats by 810,000 voters. We told you how the GOP already flipped St. Lucie and Jefferson counties from blue to red, but now it appears Republicans are gaining ground in places like Hillsborough County, where Democrats lead the GOP by just under 1.5%. The party is also making headway in Duval and Madison counties as well. In fact, since the 2022 election, Democrats have lost over 600,000 voters. Evan Power, the state's new GOP chairman, reacted to the news, saying Florida is the best place to live, work, and play in the nation.
All right, I guess I deleted the open to the show. Can you believe that, John? I deleted the actual opening to the show, you know, the classic, you know, sirens and everything. Somehow I deleted it. I don't know how. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So no open.
No.
Well,
but
okay,
here
well,
we
let's just
are.
go
This
home.
is Unsanctioned Florida.
Okay, never mind. We're going to do the show anyways?
Yes, we're here.
All right, we're going to do the show
We're
anyways.
here. We're going to do it.
And we are live from the Osceola County Fair. It's the 80th year that the fair is. This fair is actually a big deal in our county. Come, enjoy the fair. Visit us here. We're right in front of the St. Cloud Room in the event center. Please join us. Come, say hi. We've had people come, stop by, say hi. I think I might have even been on a hot mic a minute ago.
No, you were okay. You were okay.
All right, but
No.
Come and join us. The show is going to be good. We have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Let's do our quick prayer, and then we're going to go right down to business. Okay, Lord, thank you so much. We just saw that video about how Florida is a great place to be. We agree, and we think it's because of great conservative leadership. What we need is more great conservative leadership and initiatives to continue to make Florida, to keep Florida the freest state in the country. We pray that you continue to bless our nation, that you bring people back to you, and that we use your inspiration to make this state and this country whole again. We know that we've been suffering, it's been difficult, that we pray that you're going to bring our people back together and that you're going to make patriotism something that's not so rare any longer. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right, man, so what a great show we got. We're going to
Absolutely.
Let's get started. What do we
You
got
know,
first?
John, just real quick, I just want to talk about the significance of those two opening videos.
Yeah.
That is not me trying to attack the Republican Party of Florida. That is not me trying to attack any politician in particular, but I'm trying to illustrate and highlight what the Democrats are going to come after you with come November. And what that is they're going to come after you about abortion, and they're going to come after you about the insurance crisis.
And those are two big, excuse me, I'm not looking down, I'm sharing the show, but those are the two big issues, right? They are going to, that's exactly right. They're going to come on abortion. They're going to come on insurance. And let's say this. First of all, the Republican Party is working on that issue right now. I hope that they resolve the insurance problem. You have to remember that governments in general in the United States are heavily lobbied, right? It's a very complicated train to get going, to stop, to turn. It's not easy. And it was like that intentionally so that you couldn't have a country that went out of whack and you could never get it back on the rails. I have confidence that the Republicans in the state legislature are going to get back on track. They're going to resolve this problem with insurance. We're going to talk about one of those later on in the show, right?
Yeah, they're talking about eliminating property taxes.
And that's a big deal. If they eliminate property taxes, that's a trifecta right there, right? You're number one, you're giving tax money back to the people. Number two, normally our property insurances are very similar in terms of cost to property tax. I'd much rather pay a private person money than I would pay the government. And here's why I say that. Because you can negotiate with a private company for a rate. You can go out and find a competing business, and then that will bring the cost down in the free market economy. But that does not work when you're dealing with the government. The government sets a cost. It is what it is. You got to pay it. And if you don't pay it, they're going to come and they're going to take your stuff. And that's not what we want, right? We want the government out of our lives.
Absolutely.
So this is a great plan. I hope that they go through. I have faith. I know that if I get elected and I go to the Senate, this is something that I'm going to be working on. On abortion, this is an issue that the country is going to have to come to grips with, right? I can talk about my own personal views of abortion and what the legislation should be and whatever. You're going to have people, a gigantic spectrum, right? You're going to have the entire spectrum of people fighting over abortion, people who think there's no abortion under any circumstances ever, people who think that you should be able to kill a baby a month after it's born. Literally, the crazy leftists are at that point, right? They're advocating for that. Yeah. So you have that spectrum, and you have people who fall. I fall far on the right side of this situation. But in the end, this is a country of laws. This is a republic. And as a republic, it's a nation of laws, and we have to come and serve the people, and that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So if we win on every single issue when it comes to the majority of people, and we lose on the one abortion issue, I think that's okay, because that's a state issue anyways.
Absolutely.
So, this is a state issue. These are small government issues. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that we are competing very well with Democrats. Democrats have no plan. They have a leader in Nikki Fried her brain is fried. That's the only thing that I think about her. She's somebody the only thing that she's known for is weed and cursing. I mean, when
that's sure, yeah.
When that's your A and B, when your left and your right punch is cursing and smoking weed, or advocating for marijuana, you're not the greatest in the world. So,
no.
I have far more faith and trust in Evan Power to do a better job competing against Democrats than I do Nikki Fried.
No. All right, let's get into the state of Florida, John.
Yeah, let's get into this.
Down to Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State.
All right, so talking about Nikki Fried, John.
Yeah.
She was recently asked a question, and she was unsure of the answer. She was unsure if a transgender woman can give birth.
Okay, let's answer this question. She's not a doctor, she says. I'm not a doctor. You don't need to be a doctor to know whether a man can have a baby. That's only in today's world where this crazy question can't be answered by people. Listen, men cannot have babies. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you're a man, a biological male, you can't have a baby. Okay, you can have a food baby. Okay, but you can't have a baby otherwise. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have a baby. I'm sorry, put out of your mind. And if you do have the miracle of birth, go as an experience of yours, you are a woman. That's it. You don't have to be a doctor. Okay, yeah. I am a doctor of law. I'm not a medical doctor, but even as a doctor of law, then I already know that you cannot have as a man, you can't have a baby. Okay, a man's never going to be the mother on the birth certificate. So that's as a legal issue, right? And in the state of Florida, thank God, on your license, it says man or woman. Your gender's decided by your birth and actual science. I know Democrats hate science, but and they also hate history, as we're going to talk about later.
Absolutely.
So Democrats hate history, they hate science, but too bad. We're in the free state of Florida, and we're going to go with what your gender is, your actual gender. Thank God.
And if you don't believe that she didn't answer this question
Let's watch the video. This is hilarious.
I mean, one of the other major issues that the legislature has been dealing with is the issue of transgenderism and LGBTQ rights. Would you say that a transgender woman could give birth or get an abortion?
I am not a doctor.
Okay.
And I think that this amendment speaks for itself. It is very clear on the language. Again, it goes back to medical professionals, not politicians, not elected officials, telling people what to do with their bodies and getting it interfering with medical decisions.
Perfect. Thank you.
This is not about medical decisions. You can't decide whether you're a male or a woman. You're born a male or a woman. It's decided for you. Yeah. And she's crazy. She doesn't need to be a doctor. She just can't be crazy. You can't answer that question if you're crazy. All right? That's the thing. You don't need a PhD. You don't need an MD. You don't need a doctorate. You don't need a master's. You don't need a high school diploma. In fact, every kid raging with hormones knows this, right? It's all happening inside of them. Yep. The vast majority of them. And men cannot have babies.
No, they can't.
You can't have a food baby.
Yeah, absolutely. You have too much, and you end up with that belly. But anyway, let's highlight somebody from Florida that we are proud of. We feel very good
Matt
about.
Gaetz?
Yeah, no, it's going to be one Florida GOP congressman that's introducing a bill to take out.
Here's another good one.
Fanni Willis, and it's
Yep,
Corey Mills. There he is.
Okay, now I want to make fun of this picture for a second, if we can. Okay, Corey Mills is a handsome guy, right? And if he's not, he still thinks he is, right? But listen, I love Corey Mills. I think that he's turned into a good congressman. He's been very solid. He speaks the truth. He gets involved. He's not arrogant at all. He's a very humble guy. He's a down-to-earth person. I mean, there's nothing not to like about him. And full disclosure, I was a huge Anthony Sabatini guy when Anthony Sabatini was running in that district. This guy won, but I can't complain about this guy winning. Corey Mills is a good congressman, and he represents us well, and he's very close to us here in Osceola County.
He is 100% behind President Trump.
Yep.
And he proves it. I mean, he look at just like what he's doing with this. He introduced a bill this past Wednesday sending a pointed message to Fanni Willis following the reveal of her relationship with her top prosecutor in that case against President Trump.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree with you, though, because I don't think this is... He absolutely, he is a big Trump supporter.
Yeah.
But this isn't about Trump. This is about our laws. As I said earlier, this is a republic, right? Yeah. And he's doing this because this is a crime. This is a crime that they're committing.
Yeah.
And it's not only are they basically highlighting the practice of election interference, but they're weaponizing our government, which our founding fathers never intended. Yeah. They never intended. They would be disgusted. And so that's why it's so good.
Well, this bill is called the Against Federal Funds for Allowing Inappropriate Relations Act, or the Affair Act.
If you don't know what's going on, you must not watch the show. So a woman named Fanni.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe how appropriate that was. The foreshadowing of Fanni's mom to call her Fanni, gives up the Fanni to the lawyer who she's paying to prosecute Trump's case. Yeah. He's never prosecuted a Trump case or a case like the one he is right now, and he's getting like more than $600,000. And Corey Mills, and basically she's sleeping with him. Yeah. So they took that part of that $600,000, and they went on vacation. Yeah. Okay, so basically...
went down to the islands, had a good time.
You talk about some crazy level corruption right there. That's just sad. sad. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Kudos for Corey Mills. I'm proud of him.
So, John, Democrats are up in Tallahassee. They stormed out of a bill hearing for Confederate monuments, and what this bill was... Well, we'll take a look at this video real quick, and just a reminder: the Florida channel
Yes.
isn't going to highlight.
Let's flip over to tab 14.
That's not what they're there
they
for.
just record keeping.
But if you look up there at the top, you see
Senate Bill
a couple of the
1122,
Democrats
Protection of
getting,
Historic Monuments
they don't
and
show the
Memorials.
video, they show this
Senator
guy,
Martin,
and
you're
there he
recognized to
goes,
explain the
like
bill.
that.
Yeah. They should be embarrassed.
Thank you, Chair. This bill creates the Historical Monuments and Memorials Protection Act. The intent is to ensure that all historical monuments and memorials, regardless of where they are located in the state, are protected and preserved and not removed, damaged, or destroyed. No person or entity may remove a monument or memorial displayed on public property without authorization of the owner. And if that cannot be determined, then an option is through adverse possession. This bill applies to any monument or memorial that has been removed, damaged, or destroyed on or after July 1st, 2018. That's the bill.
That's great. I like that legislation. Here's the thing.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not some Confederate. I'm not no son of Confederate warriors or anything like that, right? But here's what I am a son of is my country, right? And my country has a history, and every country has history, right? And so I'm not ashamed of the history. There's history. It is what it is. I wasn't there. I wasn't even involved. No more family. My family, I'm a first generation American, as I've said many, many, many times on the show. But you know what? I mean, who does that? Who takes these monuments that have been placed? The society at that time decided to place that monument, and now you go taking it down, and then you remove the actual history from your country. Now, I remember several years ago, and we've talked about this on the show before too, the Taliban went and blew up a bunch of statues of Buddha in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
And these were like 300-foot tall Buddhas. They've been there for 500 years or something. It was catastrophic for scientists. Like, all these academics and archaeologists and people were crying over it. It was all over the news. It was a disaster. I think it was a World Heritage Site, and they blew it up. They blew it up. The Taliban blew it. They literally stuck dynamite. They drilled holes in it, which was already people were keeling over the people destroying this World Heritage Site. They drilled holes in it. They stuck dynamite in it, and they blew it to smithereens, right? To use an old word. And that's what the Democrats are. So basically, the Democrats have more in common with the Taliban than they have with Republicans now. I mean, this is what our country has come to, and this is what our state has come to. These guys need to grow up. We live in a southern state, right? These statues, these Confederate statues, they're not in New York, they're not in Michigan, they're not in California, because those were not Confederate states.
Yeah.
Right? This was a Confederate state, and all the South, these states were Confederate. You're going to have these monuments to people who fought. Now, here's the strange part about this, right?
Yeah.
This is a brotherhood about battle, right? Battle brotherhood is very strong. You had, after the Civil War, you had members of the veterans of the Confederate Army and veterans of the Union come together and celebrate together their veteran status, right?
Yeah.
So if those two groups of warriors who fought against one another lined up and had and fought for their beliefs and for their beliefs, right, and their countries at that time in their minds, who are we to go and rip that out?
Right.
Exactly. And dishonor history. You don't dishonor history. You honor history, right? I mean, even if I lived in Germany, right? Like, they blow up all their monuments. I wouldn't have blown any of that stuff up. Those are great reminders of where our country, where our world has been. And to destroy those monuments is to destroy history. And that's what Democrats love to do, because the one thing Democrats hate is knowledge. It seems like they hate knowledge. They hate science. They hate history. They hate knowledge. Democrats even hate using the appropriate bathroom. So, I mean, it never ends with them.
John, that's what I was going to say. If you don't like one of these monuments that you walk by, and you can treat it differently for a different kind of person. You can point to it and say, I hate that person.
Yeah.
I know what that person did. Or you can tell your child, hey, you know who that person is.
This was a
that
terrible
person is
time.
a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But some people might look at it and say, this is history. I'm very interested, to know these things. Somebody might be like, oh, what a hero this guy is. People have different reactions to different things. But just because you don't like something, you don't destroy it. You don't take it down.
Well, you do if you're the Taliban.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You do if you're the Taliban. You do if you're a despot, or you do if you're a dictator.
Yeah.
You
do it if you're trying to erase history and rewrite it.
Yeah. It's just a shame.
Obviously, we've seen that that's what the Democrats want to do. So,
and here's the thing. The other thing that really irks me about it is that's taxpayer money that they're using for their own personal political beliefs, and I can't stand that. Right? Don't use public money for personal beliefs. Well, there's a huge guy, okay, in Osceola County, right? He's a member of a crime family satire portion of the show. Okay, so let's just say this guy actually has the gall to put his face next to a dog, all right, and send it to everybody in the county and use our taxpayer money to send out an ad. What's a political ad, essentially, right? So I think we're going to talk about that later. But
we are going to talk about that.
I can barely wait. There's a lot I want to say about this. If you guys got this flyer, let us know.
Yeah, I think almost everybody in Osceola County got this flyer, and
well, it's even here. It's up on the TV.
Yeah,
it was in the newspaper. It was the Osceola Gazette has really sold out, haven't they?
Yeah. Well,
a rag.
They sold out a long time ago.
What a rag they are. Terrible, terrible newspaper.
So Senator Avila had a bill to combat human trafficking. It received bipartisan support through the committee. And, here he is. This bill aimed to further combat human trafficking, received bipartisan support, and the vote was...
unanimous.
Yeah,
right?
It was unanimous.
In both committees.
Yeah, passed 8-0 in the Criminal Justice Committee and 6-0 in the Governmental Oversight and Accountability Committee. It's now headed to its last Senate stop. So, good on him.
Yeah, congratulations to Senator Avila. Here's the thing. We have, right, Republicans that are writing legislation, they get passed unanimously that are combating human trafficking, and then we have Democrats who are fighting with statues, right? They're fighting statues, they're fighting people using a bathroom that's appropriate. I mean, what's going on? You talk about a plane, it doesn't matter. I'll pay double the home insurance that I have right now if I can keep the Democrats away from my kids and my families, because they don't know what the heck they're doing.
Oh, man. So, it's true. All right, so parents are outraged after
Here's proof.
They learned that a Pinnellas school hosted a pride rally with DEI topics for third graders.
Third graders. What does a third grader know about DEI? Third graders aren't even, there's no racist animosity with them. They get along perfectly fine. They go into a setting. You know what I've learned, and I've seen this by observation? When you have a setting where the setting is like faith-based, right? Yeah. Faith-based. If you go to a faith-based setting and you have a whole bunch of kids in there, it doesn't matter what color, what ethnicity, what background, what socioeconomic status, whatever it is, those kids are going to get along, except for normal tension between kids. And Democrats are here teaching DEI in the third grade?
Yeah.
No wonder they're losing their...
This is what creates tension. It creates
that's exactly
divisions, what they're doing. All right, and this is complete indoctrination. I mean...
they're sowing hate in kids in the third grade. Thank God my kids aren't in Pinnellas. I wouldn't live there for that.
Watch this. Look at this.
Facing a challenge that is hard to overcome. It also means speaking up or standing up when someone tells you to be quiet when something is wrong.
Kid holding a
change
sign
can come in all shapes and sizes.
So the third graders have been learning about so many change
now, if you know anything about
and they've been
kids,
learning about so many causes that make our world
so
better
it's
for
very easy
everyone.
for these kids to start thinking we're supposed to hate. Or if you tell them, it's simple as this to confuse a child. It's as simple as this. When you say, oh, you know what? White people and black people don't get along. We're trying to fix that problem. They grow up thinking that that's the case. So even though you think in your crazy liberal mind that you're helping, you're actually hurting that child. You're confusing them already, telling them that there's something that does not exist, exists, right? Just like the boogeyman. And that's what the Democrats do best, is they're constantly selling boogeymen. Just like neoconservatives are selling boogeymen in terms of wars across the world, right? That's the problem with the Republicans, is that we're selling wars across the world, right? At least neoconservatives. And then Democrats are selling all kinds of boogeymen, like, well, don't use that bathroom that you're supposed to use. You have to wear makeup when you're a man, and all this other BS that just makes no sense. I mean, that's their number one thing.
you know, it's really sad to see them continue this stuff, and it's happening here in our home state.
Sure it is.
God, you know, I don't blame the parents for being outraged at that.
Of course not. I would be outraged.
No, absolutely. Well, John, I don't know if you know this, but earlier this week, the border convoy reached Florida. It's God's Army. That's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
And here's a little video about them and what they're doing.
A few hours from now, a convoy of protesters calling themselves God's Army will set off for Louisiana, and it begins day 2 of a planned week-long protest over the Biden administration's border policies. Xavier Walton is in Jacksonville, Florida with the very latest. Xavier, is this group, I don't know, up and at 'em for day 2 of traveling now?
Marky, they are up and at 'em. Some people awake this morning, and it is growing as well. This truck actually, you know, just joined in Jacksonville, and the one here to your left, this RV, is the one that is going to be leading the pack, the convoy. You know, this group going to great lengths, driving thousands of miles to highlight the ongoing issue at our southern border. You know, the convoy pulling in late last night, welcomed by dozens of people waving American flags and a band singing the national anthem. One woman even giving the driver of this RV money, gas money. Supporters traveling from places like New Jersey and Missouri, some showing up from Georgia just to be a part of this Take Our Borders Back convoys. You see them pulling in. It comes as the standoff between Texas and the federal government over border enforcement intensifies. That plus the record number of encounters at the border last fiscal year is why Joseph Fulfer, who is streaming this, is driving across the country.
It's affecting my kids. When I'll have grandkids, and this is costing us billions of dollars. And I've been down there for months, and I can tell you the border is wide open.
After leaving Florida, the convoy, you see it here, heads to Louisiana before making stops along border hotspots in Eagle Pass, Texas, Yuma, Arizona, and San Ysidro, California. And that's where organizers say it's really going to pick up steam. As I point you over here, you know, it's not just RVs and trucks. It is also normal cars as well. That white vehicle there, a woman, I saw her this morning. She slept in it last night, got a few hours of rest, and she said she's getting ready to start driving again in just a couple of hours, Marky.
A lot of Americans that are devoted to this cause. Xavier Walton will check back in as they get going for day 2.
Absolutely. I mean, people are pissed off. I mean, they're tired of this. And people you wouldn't even believe or think, you know, from northern, very far left states. People are just upset. They're tired of this. They're tired of seeing this invasion happen at our southern border. And
that's what it is, an invasion. Absolutely an invasion.
People are picking up and they're...
I mean, I don't know. It's not an invasion. It's really a betrayal, because here's the bottom line. They're allowed to. They come. The borders are open. The doors are welded open. You know, it's people are just flowing across it with nothing. So you can't call it an invasion because nobody's trying to stop them, right? There's no defense. It's all just, they're just coming. They're just coming. They're tourists, right? Wow. And it's the Biden betrayal is what it is.
All right, so before we go on to Osceola County, and we have a lot for Osceola County, we're going to hear this important message from John.
In my last ad, I spoke a lot about the problems facing our nation, and compared to California, Central Florida seems like the ideal place to live. Beautiful weather, no income tax, and freedom. But we have other problems wreaking havoc on the lives of Central Floridians. Overdevelopment, traffic, high property taxes, out-of-control homeowners insurance, drugs, human trafficking, and corrupt local politicians. Our education, although better than most states, still celebrates 50% proficiency as a victory. And yes, we still have some crazies trying to convince our kids that their God-given gender is wrong. Several of them are even running for state senate. They want you to believe that keeping books like genderqueer in our public schools is the most important item for people like you and me. They don't care about inflation or high taxes or gas prices. They only care about hanging a pride flag at the state capitol. But nobody cares about pride flags when you sit in traffic 3 hours each day because county commissioners don't know how to read a map or run their counties. And there are no unmedicated people advocating to keep books like genderqueer in our public school libraries when our kids aren't even reading at grade level. And parents like you and me, we're not concerned about woke agendas when we're trying to calculate in our minds if we have enough money to put gas in our cars and buy milk for the children we're trying to protect from groomers. Us, everyday Americans, we're tired of the hypocrisy. We're tired of politicians telling us that there's nothing they can do, and then watching them move mountains for themselves and their friends. I'm a different type of leader, and I have a different plan to make Florida the freest state in the country for everyday Americans, not just well-connected politicians. And while my ideas are faith-based, constitutionally driven, and civically minded, my policies benefit everyone, no matter what you believe. My platform is designed to protect our families and values, protect our state and country, protect our businesses and our economy. This allows families to focus on the three things most important to them: their own faith, their own families, and their own businesses. Florida has one of the best governors in the country, and now it's District 25's job to send the best person to serve you in the state Senate. My community knows how hard I was willing to fight for my country over more than 800 days in Afghanistan, and the people of Osceola County have already seen how hard I work to protect our kids on the school board. I pledge to you that I will work just as hard and fight just as hard to represent you in the state Senate.
But we make the rules, and the people are fools, and they vote for us time after time.
Wow. I'm not sure that there's not a, let's say in the last 3 years, right? Because over the last 3 years, we've been doing a job of exposing these guys for being the crooks that they are. No. And in the past, I think other people have had turns of exposing them for the crooks that they are. But I think that they have been like on their heels, right? Yeah. Even with that District 35 loss, right? They were on their heels. They are, you know, the defense is against them, right? Like there's a movement against them. Against the establishment. It's certainly not easy. But then they do stuff like this. I was just about to curse. They do stuff like this. Look at this. Look at this. Okay?
Did you get this in the mail?
Did you get this in the mail? I want everyone to check this and make sure. See if you got this. Oh, I'm not going to put your address on there.
My address up there.
Okay? Check this. Make sure. Now, Tom does not live in the district with these mutts. Okay? I'm not talking about the dogs. I'm talking about the politicians on here. Okay? Tom does not live in the district of this pair of mutts right here. Okay? But here they are sending him mail using your tax dollars to put both of their faces on a county. On the county.
Yeah.
This is a county logo. Here's the county logo right there. Look. County logo. They're using your tax dollars to send out what is essentially a political advertisement. Okay? This is not even like a PAC. This is blatant using government money to send mail to everyone. Now listen, I'm sure that these two, I don't know who adopted who, right? Obviously one of them came from the shelter, from the dog shelter. I don't know which one, right? That's for you to decide which one of these two was adopted from a shelter. But they probably should have euthanized these two mutts, because this is a huge abuse of your tax dollars right here. It's the same thing as the Booths spending $1 million of your tax money so that they can get their picture put up on the scoreboard on one of the high school football fields. It's the same thing. They're abusive to, there's no ends to their abuse. They don't stop. And we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. There's even more stuff, right?
Yeah.
But here they are. Look at that. Your tax dollars, okay? This is not money that they raised from being corrupt politicians where they force people through contracts to make campaign contributions. This is your straight up tax dollar being sent to everyone's individual home. Shame on them. Shame.
Not only that, John, but they are on this same advertisement that was sent in the mail is on the screens here at the fair.
It's even here, so they're using that. They're using your tax dollars.
It's on the big screen outside the fair on the whatever that is when you come into the fair. It's on a banner outside the Osceola County Animal Shelter.
It was on an advertisement. Banner. It was on an advertisement for the Osceola Gazette.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's everywhere. And
it's everywhere.
There would be no problem with this if it didn't say Commissioner Brandon Arrington on it, all over it, okay? There's no reason. If it just said Osceola County Animal Services wants to
it's
give
got
you
his name, and then it
$14 adoptions, that's
and
fine.
then it has a picture of Cruella DeVille on here, too, for extra measure, okay? This is, look, I mean, I got no problem with this initiative, but this is nothing but a ploy.
Yeah, this is
a
vote
ploy.
Pandering. This is pandering for votes.
And what I mean, these guys have no shame. No. You got to make them pay at that election, this election. When you see somebody being abusive to the public, make them pay. Make them pay. Do not elect this guy. That's why they're doing this. They're doing this. They're doing this just absolute abuse of the community of Osceola County because they think they need it, because they're struggling, especially when they saw Erica Booth get absolutely blasted in that election, which was designed for a Republican to win. She lost because Republicans knew that she was a fake conservative, a
rhino.
Okay? That's why. And these people, they're desperate. They want to win too. But they know that they're going to get taken out this election cycle. And so they're using your tax money, right? Look, I got this booth. Okay? I had to pay out of my campaign funds to get this booth. But they're using your tax money to do this. Shame on them.
Absolutely.
It's despicable.
Absolutely. And, don't think of pet adoptions when you think of Brandon Arrington. Think of the traffic you sit in every day. That's what you should think of when you see the name Arrington.
Arrington means traffic. Yeah, wherever, I don't know where the name Arrington originates
from, but it must
mean
Arrington. Traffic. Just
Arrington equals traffic.
When Vivek held up that sign that said Nikki equals corruption,
yes.
Arrington equals traffic. There you go.
Man, it's sickening. It's sickening. They have no shame, and that's after naming the that swim center I've already blown up about so many times. I mean, it's sickening. Yeah. It's sickening. They're so abusive. They're so corrupt. There's no end to what they'll do. If they could just take the money out of the tax office and put it in their pocket, they would. Yeah. I'm thoroughly convinced that they would just do that. They would just take the money and put it in their pockets if they could.
No, absolutely. And, let's talk about another boondoggle led by Mr. Arrington right here. It's the Poinciana Parkway South Route 538. Now a 4-lane divided expressway serving growing part of Osceola County. This here's a video. It's just a stock video of what this is.
This is fake. This is 100% fake news.
They are patting themselves on the back here, saying it's going to serve the rapidly growing community of Poinciana and Osceola County. Project added 2 lanes, Then it goes into this, and it says that Commissioner Brandon Arrington, representing the project area. By the way, he is now this Central Florida Expressway Authority chairman.
So let me pose this question. How does a county commissioner vote on something like this or get involved in a project like this when he's also the chairman of the CFX? Isn't that a conflict of interest? How can you serve 2 masters in that situation where you're designing roads, paying for roads as a county, and then you're also approving them or benefiting the CFX process? You can't serve those 2 masters in this situation. I think I'm going to file an ethics complaint on this. I don't know if he voted specifically for these, but listen, there's an entire community in Poinciana who does not want that community cut in half. This road is going to split their community in half. Okay? Now you imagine, you got a neighborhood, now you can't get from one side to the other because of this road. And there have been, okay, just to drive it home, there is an entire population down in Poinciana which they came up with a way that was cheaper, an alternate route which was cheaper, better. They did the study, engineers put the plan together, it was cheaper, better, more effective. It did not split up the community. It was a huge alternative. And Brandon Arrington just said, get out of my face, blew them off, and wouldn't give them the time of day, nor would any other county commissioners. So there's people who are fighting. So listen, if you live in Poinciana, if you live in that community, if you live on Pleasant Hill, if you live on Poinciana Boulevard, or anywhere south in that part of the county, you need to get in touch with this group. I think that next week we're going to talk about what this group's name is. We're going to give you all the information, but it's a couple of people, engineers, it's intelligent people. They did all the studies, and they know for a fact that this would be a less harmful proposal, but the county commissioners don't care. What they're trying to do is make their buddies rich, in my estimation. They're trying to get that Southport connector here. I got a map over here of our county. But they're trying to get that Southport connector through a whole bunch of land to make that land worth a hell of a lot of money. And that's what this is about. It's not about easing traffic for Osceola County. It's not about easing traffic for Poinciana. It's not about easing traffic for St. Cloud. It's not about the economy. It's not about jobs. It's none of that stuff. It's all about making people rich who abuse the community.
You know, you think about it, John, at the end of the day, this is another toll road in Osceola County,
putting
where
a toll
CFX
road
is going to make money.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brandon Arrington got rewarded by them making him the chairman.
Yep.
I mean,
exactly.
It is unbelievable, the corruption that is involved here in Osceola County. But here's another story. It doesn't really talk about traffic, though. It's an Osceola County resident that's concerned with speeding on Cross Prairie Parkway. And this is what he had to say, this video here.
It means when the grass grows, the leaves fall, or the plants are thirsty, it's up to you. Benjamin Skurick knows that firsthand. He purchased this home in the Toaqua development a year ago for his young family.
Well, yeah, we're hoping to our kid here and looking down the road at another one. So, yeah, hope to make this a place our family can grow for a long time.
Growing is sort of a specialty in Osceola County. Developments are popping up just about everywhere.
Definitely have a lot of stuff planned for the area, which is a good thing.
Benjamin doesn't mind the development, but he does mind the speeding traffic that's coming with it.
I mean, it's about to get far worse. Worse than he realizes. That speeding is not going to be an issue for very long. If Brandon Arrington and Ricky Booth have anything to do with it, then it will be bumper to bumper in no time at all.
It makes drivers speed, and in some cases,
you look at all those homes already, and you can tell what's on the way.
I've also seen a lot of instances where pedestrians trying to cross the street, kids even, have almost been run over by people either not paying attention.
We reached out to Osceola County. A spokesman says they recently performed a speed evaluation on Cross Prairie Parkway, but didn't find widespread
They're so
speeding
full
issues.
of crap. I never believed, we just performed this study, we just did this, we just that. You can't believe anything that they say. That's the unfortunate part.
basic traffic measures like traffic lights or raised walkways. There's simple things, in my opinion, I think they can do to make this road a lot safer.
The county is looking to work with code enforcement to stop construction trucks from on-street parking where they block the bike lanes. A spokesman says they're also evaluating the corridor for sight distance concerns. Benjamin hopes it's enough to keep his growing family and community safe.
I know it's going to get busier, and it's designed to get busier, but it has to be managed safely. And so my concern is that it grows without proper pedestrian or traffic safety measures.
Well, I don't blame him for wanting, proper crosswalks and stuff like that, but don't worry, my friend. It's going to be just as bad as everywhere else very soon. You will see massive traffic through Cross Prairie Parkway. It isn't going to be a speed zone for very long.
Yeah. By the way, let me say something. We're here sandwiched between, no pun intended, Chick-fil-A. So at the fair, if you come to the fair, make sure that you stop by the Chick-fil-A booth over here.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A! 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 I'm trying to get the guy's attention for Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A! Chick-fil-A! Boy, he's really into what's going on his phone right now.
You get you a great chicken sandwich.
But anyways, come get your chicken sandwich, like Tom is saying. We're right in between Chick-fil-A and our friend over here, our libertarian friend from District 3. Come check him out too. Sign these petitions, buy your chicken sandwich. Go down FRA. If you go down this corridor, there's a giant FRA. You'll see where all the good Republican candidates are down there. They have a huge booth down there. There's all kinds. There's the Republican Supervisor of Elections. You have you have a District 2 school board candidate, District 5 school board candidate. You have, who else is there? There's a sheriff candidate.
Yeah.
Yep. So you go down there, check out that booth, support your Republican
candidates for CD9 for congressional seat 9.
Yep. So come out there, support them, meet them, shake their hands, sign their petitions, and get in contact with them. There's nothing that will make your elected official better than direct contact with the voters. So make sure you come get them before they're elected.
Absolutely. And the guy that John was talking about, the Libertarian candidate, he was in our opening video, the very first video where it says starting soon. That was Eric Montgomery. He is running against Brandon Arrington, and hopefully him or one of the other ones beats him.
Yeah, there's good candidates in that race, all right? The incumbent is not good, that's for sure. So make sure that you pick your incumbent. There's Debbie Rambis, who's also running in that seat as a Democrat. There's Eric running as a Libertarian. There's not a Republican in that race. So you don't get to play in the primary, but you certainly do get to play in the general. So if you see two people, right? If you see Eric Montgomery, or you see what's his face here, Brandon Arrington, Mama's boy Arrington, right? Then make sure that you vote for Eric Montgomery, okay? If you see in that primary, if you're a Democrat and you're voting in that primary, I mean, come on, give Debbie Rambis a hard look. She's a great candidate too. There would be no better situation for District 3 than to see an Eric Montgomery versus Debbie Rambis, because at least no matter what, you don't have Brandon Arrington, and that's a huge victory.
Have some fresh blood in that seat. So another project that Brandon Arrington is patting himself on the back about.
This is incredible. I mean, I'm trying not to get all worked up tonight, Ryan. You're really getting me all worked up. This is such a sham. Number one, they're giving away the entire they're just throwing away any kind of income that the county would make from bringing this project. So they're bringing a project that nobody wants. The community does not want this. They've been speaking out. They've been protesting. Nobody wants this project. The county disregarded what the community wanted. They sold the land anyways, and then they also gave them all these incentives. They don't have to pay anything. They get, every project person gets a brand new Rolls Royce. Everybody gets a brand, 5-star hotel stay. You get your nails done. I mean, it's they help everybody out. But they don't do anything but disregard what the citizens want. And what a sham this is. Brandon Arrington is promising 1,200 jobs. You know the last time that he promised 1,200 jobs was? When they were building Neo City. Guess how many jobs are out there, right? This is about how many right there. Eric Montgomery just held up a zero sign. There's this many jobs that they created for Osceola citizens there. I think that the only jobs that we do have out there are people that mop the floor and take out the trash, right? But that's it, right? And they built that road. They took all of our infrastructure money. They built those roads there, and then they wasted it because nobody's driving on it. And then they try to put a factory right here in the middle of a neighborhood. Now they want to put it next to the train station. But here's the thing. This is where we live. You don't put a train station in the middle of where people live. So the train station got put a little bit out. But now they wanted to put this hydrogen factory in between two neighborhoods, literally, right? Okay, fine. So now it's going to go up down the street. You know what's up the street? A school, an elementary school. There's a little school, K-8 school. So now you're putting this poison factory, right? You're putting a dangerous industrial facility next to a school where our kids are playing. I mean, come on, this county commission.
Not only that, John, but this is also where they approved these low-income housing projects that they gave to their friend, all right?
Yeah, so who cares? Who cares?
Mr. Sanchez, who is building this development out there. And I guess, it's okay to have this poison factory right next to low-income
who cares?
housing,
They're poor
right?
people, right? So just go ahead and poison them. Put them on top of a factory, or put this factory right on top of them. Just tap in their wastewater right into the faucets that these people drink out of. It's incredible that there's a county commission that gets away with doing these things, and it's up to you, the citizens of Osceola County, to make sure that it ends right now in this election cycle.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get John a little bit more worked up right now.
Oh,
we're going to hear Brandon Arrington and Ricky Booth's comments on this project.
Oh my God! I'm not geez. Somebody give me some water.
All right, here we go, and I'll pause if necessary so John can get it off his chest. Here we go.
Sure.
Go ahead.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. First, I just want to thank all the citizens who've been involved in this process for the past 6 to 8 months.
What is that little purple flower?
It's always great to have
wearing?
public input.
This guy is such
He always wears a flower.
Also, I just want to say the process worked. And I say that because unfortunately we can't provide a lot of information during these blackout periods. But between the input of ourselves, our citizenry, and working with our staff, we came to a great outcome that's going to bring hopefully 1,200 jobs to Osceola County.
With the citizens
higher clip than most of our average jobs. But I also want to thank my commission and my staff for looking at an optional site that I think is a much better location for this opportunity than what was originally proposed with staff. I appreciate us working through it and also working with Panacea to really a location that will serve industrial opportunity and be in a better employment center as well for District 3, because we all know that the only way we're going to fix the issue with our traffic in our community is by creating more opportunities for jobs to shorten our trips on a daily basis.
Okay, so you're gonna redo. Oh, yeah, pause it. Thank you. You're gonna reduce traffic by putting more cars on the road. He just said. Yeah. Okay, so the formula for Brandon Arrington to solve the traffic problem is to put more cars on the road. Not just cars like we drive with our families, but huge semi-trailers, huge trucks bringing in chemicals. That's what's going to make our lives better in Osceola County is a chemical spill.
Thank everybody that's been involved. And for just to name a couple of our citizens, Michael West, Christine Young, and Jan as well, who's been in this process and communicated with me throughout. I appreciate all their efforts, and I'm so excited that we've come to a good agreement that I think has good directive timelines and holds the company accountable to what we're hoping to see there as well. So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry.
Ricky Bobby,
sorry.
Take that crayon out of your mouth, boy.
Yes, sir.
No, I agree with Commissioner Arrington, and thank you.
Of course he does.
I agree. You're a genius. You're so smart, Brandon. I agree.
For those words. Also, just want to make sure that folks know that we do
wait for the moronic moment. Here it comes.
Community development staff to go ahead and put together a plan to move forward with Macdover Street, whatever that looks like. I think we have some community meetings inside that plan as well.
Nothing.
And I'm excited about seeing how that all turns out.
Nothing
I couldn't
so
agree
far.
more about the move over to the Sunrail station. I do believe it's a better site for this venture.
They were going to
And I
put
think
it in the
we've got
middle of a
great
neighborhood saying
timelines.
this is a better site.
And look, I'm philosophically opposed.
I'm philosophically opposed to this, but I'm going to vote for it anyways because I have no spine and I'm a big jelly blob. That's it, right? I'm a bowl of jelly without the bowl, and so I'm going to vote for it even though I'm against it. This is the problem that we have with politicians in Osceola County. He says one thing, but he really means something else. And guess who's benefit? Whose family do you think is going to benefit by having that connector down there in all that ranch land down at the south part of Osceola County? I wonder what is Ricky Bobby's family, what kind of business are they in? Agriculture. They have thousands of land, thousands of acres of land. This is a huge, they have land. You know what makes land really valuable? Do you know what makes land really, really valuable? When you put a damn road on it. The minute that you put a road on a land that people traverse, all of a sudden you have millions and millions of potential because you put a 7-Eleven there, you put a gas station there, you put this there, you build a school. And you know what happens when your wife is a school board member like she was? She approves to put a school on top of that land. And then your other buddy over there, Ricky Bobby II, goes and he wants to put an apartment complex. And so on. So when you have all your shills on the county commission, on the school board, in the state legislature, everywhere, then you own all the land. What a formula for becoming a billionaire that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Without having done an ounce of work, except the only thing that this guy has is a receding hairline. Okay? Other than that, he's got nothing to show for being anything. Okay? So here he is now telling you that he's philosophically against poisoning people with this project, but he's going to vote for it anyways. Let's hear if he answers why.
To government incentives as well, but I can tell you that
by
if
the
we
way,
stick
by
our
the way,
head in the sand.
we're also going to give away all your tax money while we're doing it. So as the cherry on top, we're going to poison you. We're going to put this poison giant factory next to a school. We're going to make our lands worth twice, 3, 4, 10 times what they're worth for my family and me. And then we're going to give the tax money that you've paid back to the company that's going to come here and poison you. Man, this is man of the year stuff right here.
What a deal.
Man of the year. If he changes gender, there's no doubt that he becomes a superstar right now.
It could be Valdosta, Georgia, or Houston, Texas, or somebody else is going to do it.
Who's ever heard of Valdosta, Georgia?
And that's just the way of the world right
nobody
now.
wants to
I am
live in
philosophically
Valdosta, Georgia.
opposed.
You have to put a chemical
But we
plant
want to
in
get these
Valdosta
high
because
wage
nobody wants to be there.
jobs into our community.
You know why they didn't go
and
to
you're right,
Valdosta?
especially
Because
into
they
a
didn't want to
community
be in
where
Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And you know what the difference is? The people in Texas, they have a spine there where they would tell you you're not going to poison our kids probably. I don't know. Was that the whole thing? I talked over his whole
Why
thing.
couldn't they put this in Neo City?
That's a great question, right? Because Neo City has nothing but land.
No.
Neo City has nothing but land. There's no jobs, right? There's no traffic. It's the only road where there's no traffic. So why didn't they put it there? You would imagine, right?
No. It's not good enough for
It's not
Neo
good enough.
City.
It's not good enough. No,
No.
they need something real fancy there, like a $75 million taxpayer-funded museum of arts or whatever, art center, so that Brandon Arrington has a new fancy office in Neo City. Come on.
All right,
Come
John.
on.
So,
And then the county's going to sell that art center to Brandon Arrington for $10.
yeah. Maybe he'll be appointed as the chair of this art center, and he'll earn $100,000.
No, they're gonna
salary.
move. They're gonna move his crummy little Osceola Arts project that he gets paid more than $100,000 to do. You know, when the county gave him that whole land, that property there, right? And he's gonna move it into Neo City is what's gonna happen.
All right, John. So taking it to St. Cloud. St. Cloud residents are fearing traffic study could put some homes in more danger. And this thing, John, I know a lot about what happens in St. Cloud. I try to keep up on it. I try to keep a focus on what happens in my community where I grew up. I can tell you, I never heard of this thing. I never heard anything about this 5th Street study until, actually Tuche Fijak, who's going to be in this video that we're going to see, brought it to my attention. And
she's going to be on the show tonight.
Yeah, she's going to be on during this segment. you know, she sent it to me through Facebook and was like, "What is this?" You know, and she was, you know, and she's been sharing it all over the place. I had no idea. I looked into it. I had never heard anything about a Fifth Street study, what was going to go on with this.
I mean, you're on the EAT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You're on the EAT. You would think that they would have briefed you on this.
I've not heard a single thing about this. And supposedly this has already been decided upon. So they've already taken the decision that this is going to happen. They're supposed to have a public workshop for public input, but yet they never made this available to the public to, you know, for anything else, you know, whether the public wants this or not. So anyway, let me play this video, and then we're going to have Touche here, and she's going to talk about it.
It's a road project that was supposed to make things safer for drivers in the town of St. Cloud.
I believe it's going to turn into a racetrack.
But tonight, some residents say it will only make traffic even worse. We spoke to homeowners in this St. Cloud neighborhood who say they had no clue the city conducted a traffic study of this area. Good evening, I'm Martha Sigowski.
And I'm Greg Warmer. The city says council members asked for ways to improve the corridor and address safety concerns. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews live in this area tonight. And Daryl, one woman says she could now lose part of her driveway.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Greg. Right behind me, I want you to see this man. How narrow this road is. He has to sit in the middle of the street to just drive down it on his motor wheelchair. But I also want you to see how people are also using the city easement for parking to get out of the street, and they feel like this new project would take that away.
They don't take care of the things that they already have. They're just putting more projects on the table, which are not even being done correctly at this point.
A two-phase project meant to control traffic along 5th Street in St. Cloud.
The city hasn't communicated with us. I have no idea what this is about until this young lady just told me.
St. Cloud conducted a study to evaluate existing traffic on 5th Street and look for improvements after getting the go-ahead from the City Council for safety concerns. The traffic study went from 5th and Brown Chapel to Mississippi Avenue. These graphics show where possible elevated crosswalks, speed humps, stop signs, and many roundabouts will go.
If they put a roundabout here, people would be in our, like their headlights would always be in my house. I don't think the traffic would ever stop. And, you know, roundabouts don't really stop cars.
If approved, the project would happen in two phases along a nearly 3-mile corridor, starting with stop signs at existing right-of-way intersections, followed by speed humps and roundabouts. Residents who live along 5th Street say any traffic project could give the city a reason to push back on a city easement, which would tear up driveways, putting homes closer to the street.
This is a residential neighborhood. This is not a major thoroughfare, okay?
Now, the city says they don't have an exact time frame for the start of this project, but they are holding a public workshop February 19th at City Hall. We're live in St. Cloud. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9.
It is going to happen, and here she is. This is Touche Fijak.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you found this on Facebook, right? I mean, you basically found this on Facebook. Have you learned any more about this project, like what's happening with this, or?
So I saw that they added something to the website after the fact that, you know, that's how it always happens, right?
Of course, right?
I mean, City of St. Cloud, where do I start? I mean,
I know. Well, here's the thing. You've been on the news multiple times, right? Because you've been on the news over the water.
Right.
And now you still have water issues, right? They can't even get that right. They sold the water. They gave away the only thing that actually generated revenue in St. Cloud, which was the water. They haven't fixed your water. Your water's still coming out. It's ruining your washing machine. It's ruining your appliances. So you were all in the news about that.
Right.
Now you find out that they're building a roundabout in front of your house, and they never came. They never sent you a letter. They never got you involved. Here's the funny thing. I do know. I've come up with some information on this. That they did tell a bunch of companies, or you know, like the office buildings, they sent them letters telling them that they were going to take a part of their lands. So, like, they are doing eminent domain to take away driveways and stuff, and they're reducing the land. So they are. I mean, this is incredible that they had never. You would think that they would come to you first.
Right. You would think they would notify the citizens, but they don't want the citizens to know.
Yeah.
So today, actually, I started trying to contact people in City Hall yesterday, and I went there. And of course, there is no one available to talk to. But today, I was able to reach Mayor Blackwell, and I had a conversation with him. I said, I don't think that there's sufficient signage. I mean, there should be signs at either every block or every 2 blocks, because we have so many elderly residents that have no Facebook, and they think that's sufficient enough to inform the citizens when
So
it's a
the
big
only
problem.
thing they did to inform the people who lived on that street
Right.
was to make a Facebook post?
Right, and then there's actually a sign on Lakeshore if you drive down that way, but I don't.
Yeah, but if you don't drive down Lakeshore,
No.
then you don't see the sign,
No.
right? So, I mean, like, there's people, like, the very nice houses are on Lakeshore, right?
Right.
And so they put, for the people who maybe make campaign contributions, they give them a sign, they put it in their front yard. They're
Right.
like, hey, by the way, we're widening your street. And then for the people that live further back, they tell the businesses in the office buildings, hey, by the way, we're gonna do this. But everybody in the middle, who are just regular residents of St. Cloud, they're like, no, they're just gonna come and start putting in some lopsided bricks like they did in downtown or whatever it is that they're gonna do.
So I talked to also Ken Gilbert today, and he said he was going
Ken
to...
Gilbert, who's a city council member.
Right, he said he was going to help. So let's see what that does, because if they don't put up signs, I'm going to make it a goal to walk to every house and ring their doorbells, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
You know, I'm not sure how Ken Gilbert or any of the councilmen are going to be able to help with this issue since they've already decided on it.
How can they have decided on this without public comment? I mean, and if they didn't give proper notice, they may have. What they did was they probably took out an ad in the Osceola Gazette that nobody reads. Right? And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to have it on so-and-so, we're going to have it at 1:30 p.m. or whatever time your kid gets out of school, right, during the day or when you're working. And, you know, and then it's like, it can never be like, hey, listen, they should have sent an employee from the city to knock on every single door and said, listen, we're doing this project, right? It would have cost them less there. And they're just assuming that eventually you're going to go away, right? I think by now they know that you're not going to go away, right? They probably forgot that you lived there.
Yeah, I'm never gonna go
They should have
away.
known when they looked at that map and they were like, oh, roundabout here, who lives in that house? Forget it. Just cancel the project.
I think
Cancel
that's why
the
they
project.
said they're putting a four-way stop now.
Yeah.
They're
gonna build
changing it around.
They're gonna put your house in the middle of the roundabout. They're gonna just build a roundabout around their house and
I wish they would build walls around their house at this point, you know?
I mean, it's incredible. Well, I mean,
gotten anywhere with Toho with your water?
Oh,
They
well,
helping you or
so
what?
they changed my main and my meter. However, I'm still getting the same quality of water. My washer just stopped working.
are they gonna replace that?
I would assume. Right now, my meter's not even on. It's not going because they...
How can they charge you for
Yeah,
brown water? This water,
I'm not gonna let
if you've
them charge me
seen,
for
if you've
that.
seen the water coming out of Tucci's faucet,
Oh, it's horrible.
it looks like a water, like he's got a chicken sandwich sitting next to him right now, okay? It's the same color as a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, the water, okay? Now, as a sandwich, it's delicious, but when you're getting that water out of your tap,
Yeah, it's-
that's gross. And that's what it looks like.
Not-
I've seen pictures, we've seen videos.
And not only is it just the color, the fact that it's resin beads,
Yeah, it's
because
resin, yeah.
it's made out of polystyrene, which is the same material that K-cups are made out of.
Wow.
So, and then not only that, then these resin beads are made to attract all the bad stuff in your water. So not only are you ingesting the plastic,
But all the bad stuff
but
that
you're
they
ingesting all the bad stuff. So I asked Toho to, you know, write that on a piece of paper that it's safe to consume, and I'd continue paying for it, but I haven't gotten that. So
I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to start delivering you water? Here's the thing.
I asked for water today.
If I were the CEO of Toho Water, number one, I would figure out what that problem is because they have the resources to sort it out, right? But if you can't, then I would make you happy. I would go make sure that you have brand new appliances. I would go put like a water softener, some gigantic filter, because you've been in the news like 100 times over black and brown water. I mean, why is it taking them so long to resolve your problem?
I mean, at this point, I don't think they know how to solve it. Because
How can that be? I'm just like shocked by that.
I think it's going to be very expensive problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, they tried
Well,
doing
let's say
the
this.
expensive fix.
If it's
but-
going to be more than $300,000, then they should just buy you a new house and move you out of town.
I mean,
right? And you would think that that's what they would do. Listen, it's going to cost us $525,000 to fix this problem. Let's give her $300,000. Let's let her move out of here. The next people who move in here, we'll let them know in advance. That
I think they should buy my house and keep it.
Turn it into a Toho office.
I mean, it's not even that my house is old. It's because my neighbor just built a brand new house and has brand new pipes. So
And they have the same issue,
they
right?
can't blame my pipes
Yeah.
at this point because everyone knows the water problem in St. Cloud. Let's
Here's
not
the problem.
deny stuff.
Here's the even that I make that suggestion in jest.
Right.
But what would happen is that they'd use the city money to go buy up all these houses that they can't get clean water. They would build new housing there. They would sell the land to a developer who we all know, right? And that developer would make $1 kajillion in the process. So even you can't even make the right for you without helping these corrupt people because they only corrupt them. They only help themselves.
I mean, when the government comes knocking because we don't have clean water, I mean, they might have to start.
I mean, we got Flint water in Kissimmee and in St. Cloud. How is that?
You know, Tucci said it. She said everybody in St. Cloud knows about the water problem. The only people that don't know about the water problem are the people that are buying houses in St. Cloud from out of the area. They come in, they have no idea.
You know what?
This water.
This is going to be a class action lawsuit at some point, I think. It's going to be a class action lawsuit against the city, and the city tried to get rid, and that might be why they sold it in the end, because they were like, you know what? Something's coming down the pipe here the minute somebody gets smart.
I've heard of people collecting data to go after the city.
Yeah,
So-
well, hey, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go take I'm gonna go take the bar. I'm gonna go take the bar like immediately, so that I can do that class action lawsuit.
I will
because
hire you.
we're gonna do that. I'm gonna go take the bar just for that one thing. You know, I have no interest in practicing law, but I'm gonna go take the bar just so that I can do that. And then there's a neighborhood in front of my house on the way in John Young Parkway, and that's basically like a parking lot, right? So that road you go down, there's like a set of condos. Now down the street on this way, there's a water retention plant or some kind of water plant, water wastewater plant or something like that. So all those people bought homes, right? When they come during the day, no problem, right? It's
Are
fine.
you talking about the stinky area? Oh my God.
So you go there, you look at the house, it's beautiful, it's new, it's on John Young Parkway. They have no idea how bad it is during traffic.
Right.
But then they have their first night, they move into their house, and believe me, it smells like human waste. All of the people that bought that house, I wonder if those developers disclosed it to the people who were buying houses. Hey, by the way, it's gonna smell like human feces in your house every night.
I doubt that
Right?
would,
And
that
if
would
they
not be a
didn't-
good selling point.
It would not be, right?
No.
I should have went and stood outside that neighborhood with a sign that said, these houses all smell like human feces after 9 p.m., and to see what happens. But, well, listen, Tooch, I mean, you're fantastic. You've been a huge fighter. I think we met. The first time that we met was actually in complaining about the water at City Hall. So that's great. You are a fighter. You are a great community member. Now you're a member of the FRA. You're in the leadership team of the FRA.
Yes, I'm vice chair too.
Yeah, you guys have done a really great job with that. I'm so happy to be a member of that group.
I'm so proud.
Yes,
we just
right?
celebrated a year.
I know. What a great
growing.
or it keeps growing.
Right.
Now you have the kids group. You did that, right?
The FRA Junior, you can bring your kids now. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
bring your kids. They come. They do patriotic activities. I mean, it's a fantastic thing. So.
And we're going to be at the fair for all of the fair. We have 8 candidates here. Come out and meet them.
And a gigantic booth. Go and look at the FRA booth down the corridor. It's fantastic.
Truly fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Great job. And all the candidates are there. You can come sign all their petitions. Come help your Republican candidates get on. You're going to be at the fair anyways, right? Everybody comes to the fair. So come in here. If you walk into the event center where I think it's the crafts that are in here, right? Or something like that.
Right, it's like the craft center.
Yeah, so come in, check it out, walk down the corridor, say hello to me and Tom, and say hello down at the FRA. So, but thank you.
You'll be there, at the FRA tent and or booth, and I'll be there later on in the week because me and Tucci are both vice chairs for the FRA in Osceola County. So
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you
for
very
having
much.
me.
Yeah, it was fun. Good job.
All right.
What do we got next?
All right. So somebody else has entered the school board race for your.
Oh boy,
school
let's
board
look
seat,
at it.
John.
Let's look at it.
And it's Angel Luis Coba.
We were talking about this, right? And then all of a sudden, we ended up
seeing him tonight.
Yeah, we ended up stopping by. So I mean, who can say that we are not like on top of our game? Because we were certainly, that was a huge point of discussion. District 3 is up in the end. I had a group of teachers that came earlier tonight, some Republican, some Democrat, and of course they signed my petitions, but they were talking about what I was going to run again or not. And a lot of people have come to me and they wanted to say, hey, please stay in the school board. Like I've had a lot of those people stay on the school board. But regardless, who's going to run? Who's going to replace? Who's going to replace you? So I know that that's going to shake out in a different way right now. So let's pull that up again, that list.
Yeah. So
let's go through these. Okay. So you have Angel Luis Coba. Angel Luis Coba was a congressional candidate. He got out of the congressional race, and then he moved into this race in District 3 school board seat, right? There's Anthony Cook and Jeffrey Hawk. Let me say this about Anthony Cook, okay? Anthony Cook is probably a qualified person, right?
Yeah.
He's educated, he's intelligent. They're not going to say he's a bad person or anything like that. I don't have any evidence to say that Anthony Cook is a bad person.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that he's 150% aligned with the establishment, specifically with the chairwoman, Heather Cahoon. So unless you want two Heather Cahoons, don't vote for Anthony Cook, is my opinion, right? That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
There's also some issues. I'll tell you one thing. I have a big concern about it, is that we saw a post that went out from the community affairs of the school district, and we saw a post that came out from Anthony Cook's campaign. And it was the same post. Anthony Cook posted it, and then, coincidentally, Community Affairs posted it a few hours later.
Wow.
And here's the thing. Our Community Affairs team, like the rank and file people in the Community Affairs team, they're fine. There's nothing wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. But the leadership of that Community Affairs team really has some soul searching to do, because you gotta play this straight. This is a governmental body. You have to do the right thing. You can never even have the appearance of being favorable towards one side or another in a race or anything like that. But I've already complained about it many times. They had gotten involved in the races and in the efforts of people running. Of course, Dr. Pace was not going to do anything about it. She said those were her candidates as well. So, nobody ever did anything about it, and fine. I hope I'm going to have to bring this up later on, because it's absolutely unacceptable that Community Affairs has any involvement whatsoever in any of this stuff. And that's where Heather Cahoon came out of the Community Relations Department.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't doubt that she had her hand involved in this. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a.
The other candidate in this race is Jeff Hawk, John, and we both know Jeff Hawk. We've talked to him, we've met him. He was the first to file for this seat, but he has been basically a ghost since then. And I'm not saying he's a ghost candidate, but I am saying he's a ghost. He's the first to file. We have not seen any logos. We have not seen any campaigning whatsoever. We haven't seen him anywhere.
I don't know what he's thinking, really.
I don't know if he's a serious candidate. If he decided that decided to run at one point and decided, you know what, I don't want to run now. I'm going to back out. And that's cool. I mean, I get that. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying anything negative about Jeff Hawk. So if you're watching, Jeff, I'm not saying that you're a ghost candidate or anything like that. I just haven't seen anything from you. I haven't seen you anywhere. I don't know what's going on, but,
I'll say this. This is a school board seat is a specialist seat, okay? This is a specialist seat. It has certain criteria that you need to meet to be able to effectively serve the community. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see it in Jeff that he has that. He doesn't have education experience. I guess he got mad. His daughter has some issues, right, or something like that. He came to me. Maybe I didn't handle it the way that he wanted me to. or something like that, and then he gets into this race. He filed even before it was clear whether or not I was going to file.
Right. Absolutely.
So certainly,
I think we were both shocked when we saw it.
Yeah,
we
there was
like,
there's no point to it. What are you going to do? How are you going to, if somebody's going to, so for Anthony Cook to get in, that's perfectly normal, right? Because it's like saying, I'm going to run against Arguello for school board because I'm an establishment person. He's anti-establishment, I'm establishment, makes sense. So Jeff Hawk is a Republican. Why would you get in when there's a Republican in that seat? Yeah. You're not going to, are you going to be able to advocate for the community better than I have? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's like a statement. I don't think so. I don't think that he's got the tools necessary to do that. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not even. Maybe he would rise to the occasion. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like there's been any purpose or any effort. So all you're doing is wasting space, not allowing. I don't know. I mean, you're basically you would split a Republican primary. If there's another Republican who wants to get in, then you split it. Yeah. So what is it that you're going to do? You haven't talked to the community. I don't know. Maybe he's walking every single day. Who knows? You never know.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen anything. I mean, he hasn't posted anything on social media. He hasn't come up with a logo. I haven't seen a logo. I haven't seen him at any event. I mean, there's a ton of candidates here today, Republican candidates. I don't see him here. You know, and I'm not saying anything. You know, I've met him a couple of times. Seems like a nice guy. I just don't know what his purpose is anymore in this race. If he's decided to pull out, decided that he doesn't want to do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a hit and miss kind of situation, and we just hope that we want somebody good to win that seat.
Yeah, we absolutely
we want somebody good.
We need a strong conservative in that seat.
We need a strong
somebody who's going to come in behind John needs to match his intensity and integrity in that seat.
I think that's the key. Is the integrity. You got to come in and you got to be able to fight these guys, right? And that's super important. If you can't do that, then
we cannot have this seat fall to the left. Number one, okay, and we cannot
or to the corrupt.
We cannot
because Ricky
have
Booth
this
was also
seat.
supposedly he's a Republican. I don't know if he is. He's one of those. I don't know. His wife is Trump's niece, is what she said during her campaign, right? So, but you know that was no good. We can't have corruption.
Cousin, so I mean,
yeah.
But we need somebody. We cannot let this school board fall to the left any more than it already is. So,
we need to have. Listen, hey, that reminds me. Before what do we have next? Anything else? Is that it? Are we done for the? All right. So we're done with the show. But listen, let me say this: we have our friend. Okay, you need to get involved in that District 5. If you live in St. Cloud, if you live in District 5, if Ricky Booth is your county commissioner, okay, you need to get involved in that District 5 race. Send a letter to the governor's office. Send a letter to the appointments office for the person that you want to be the school board member there. They absolutely need your support right now. We know for a fact that the governor is considering who's gonna be placed into that school board seat, and we need for you to get involved. Reach out to us. Give me a call. We'll help you. We'll give you the email address. We'll tell you whoever it is that you support. Whoever it is that you support, you need to right now stand up for them and send those emails. Okay, there's a candidate down here for school board. It's Laura McAdams. It's Laura McAdams. She's down here. You can come meet with her, talk to her. Now, we know that there's a lot of good people in this race. Okay, there's one establishment person in this race.
Yeah, and we all know who it is.
We know. So there's a lot of good people. I don't know who you support, but what I'm telling you is, unless you want that establishment person to be picked, because the establishment is lobbying for that person right now.
Yeah, that's exactly
what they're doing. The establishment is lobbying for him hard, and they don't want to put that person in because everybody knows if you put the person that we're talking, if you put the establishment person in that school board seat, you're going to see an uprising in Osceola County. You're going to see huge blowback on that, putting that guy in. You're going to see people really mad. You're going to see conservatives really mad, okay, if you put that establishment person there. And I think that they know that. But they need to know that whoever they put in has community support. So it's your turn right now to step up for your person, get them involved, write those emails, reach out to us, put your comment. We'll put the email so that you can send an email to this person. Don't let the establishment get that seat. Unless you want to lose the school board entirely and you won't have anybody. Imagine if you have Anthony Cook, Okay, Teresa Castillo, Heather Cahoon, Bonehead Julius Melendez, and then you have a establishment pick. It's basically like the school board before I even got there.
Yeah.
Right? So don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that. We gotta hold on. We need to make ground, not lose ground. And so get behind you. So make sure that you reach out to us. We'll tell you how to get in contact with the governor's office, the appointment office, and make sure that we send them emails, okay?
Absolutely.
Wow, well, I don't know how long?
An hour and 30.
An hour and 30. Okay, thank you. God bless you. Like and follow the show. Come back. Come every night. We might be, maybe we do little impromptu shows about specifics while we're here. So come join us. We'd love to do an interview. We'd love to be able to chat with you. Come say hello. God bless you. Have a great night. Come to the fair.
Thank you.